I never really cared to talk about Star Rail too much. And this isn't because I dislike the game or I think the game is bad or anything, because I have said many times before, I have no issue when it comes to Honkai Star Rail. It was just a game that I just didn't, enjoy playing myself. I wouldn't say it's a bad game. I wouldn't say anything about it is particularly, bad. It just wasn't my kind of game. And, just because I may not play a game or may not be feeling the game doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just simply means that it just wasn't for me, and I shouldn't force myself to play a game just to play it. And whether it gives you rewards or gives you a free character or anything, is not going to sway me one way or another to continue playing the game. So it boils down to it. I'm more of a Genshin person than a Star Rail person. However, it doesn't mean that I don't, have some respect for the, Star Rail player base and the fans that enjoy the game and, play it. Which is why more often than not, whenever say something like the anniversary event that I had last year, despite the bullshit that the community started when it came to the anniversary, I did wish the players playing the game, hey, hope you guys had a good anniversary and everything. And this time is really no different. I do generally hope that, coming next week, that the players, the fans of the game, enjoy their anniversary. Because, from what I'm seen and heard, that they're gonna pretty much have a lot of good stuff coming to them. But the point of this video isn't to talk about, the Star Rail player base or the Star Rail fans. This is mostly going to talk about the Star Rail community and how more or less they have proven a pretty valid point that I have always made when it came to the Genshin community. And that is that no matter what Hoyo do, the community would never be happy and it never be satisfied. And the thing that people like the Genshin community, the Star Rail community, and even the Withering Waves community will convince you is that the reason why people dislike Genshin so much, and mind you, we're talking about the community. I want to emphasize that the community and the players and fans of the game is two different things. Because while the players and the fan might have a, criticism for the game, they're not outright going out their way to go on social media and bitch and cry and moan about every little thing that happened in the game. So I just wanted to emphasize that. So when it comes to the community of all three, they will convince you that the reason why Genshin is in a bad place supposedly is because the devs in Genshin don't listen. They don't change anything. They don't listen to their fans. They don't give out good rewards. They don't give out the same kind of stuff that Star Rail or Withering Waves gives away. And that have often been the main thing that you will hear every single patch, every single update, regardless of which game it is. And you have people like TechCon that would more or less kind of, hop on the hate train with Genshin, and then more or less continue to say the same old line of Genshin is dying, Genshin is losing popularity and everything else. You also have some people that would say revenue don't matter when it comes to this kind of thing, as well as them trying to convince you that Natlin is so bad it is potentially killing Genshin, and that no one is actually pulling for Natlin characters. Again, this is the same group of people that will convince you that Mizuki, a character that had probably the worst banner sales at the time, somehow outsold Movica. even though the charge clearly made clear that Silali held that whole update at the time almost made $1 billion. But again, you know, a simple Google search and a simple, typing in such thing, it seemed to be, non-reachable for some people. And because it's Twitter or Hoyle Lab or whatever, or even YouTube, I guess to a degree, will they'll listen to the echo chamber instead of looking basic fucking research. But that what they would tell you. And then you look at this Star Rail issue. And this is a game that have gone out their way to bend over backwards for their fan base. They have given them a free tempo-ish update. They have given them a free 5 star at some point, a limited free 5 star. They have done everything and then some for the community, whether it has something to do with them addressing certain things that the community might have talked about, whether that has something to do with them adding some good quality of life stuff to the game, or just giving out better rewards. I can say, as a Genshin player, that yeah, I think Star Rail will do go above and beyond than Genshin tend to do. It's not to say Genshin don't do anything, because despite what some people will say, Genshin do things. They just don't do the things that the community want them to do. Let's make that clear. Because there's a difference between you not doing jack shit with the game and you not listening to the fans about adding certain things to the game. So when we come to Star Rail, they do go above and beyond, in trying to improve their game, trying to make their game good, and trying to make their game as well polished and as rewarding as possible for old and new players. And you think, with all of that, you think that regardless if they ever brought out a bad character or did something kind of not that appealing to the fan base, that they wouldn't get no kind of real hate. They may get some criticism here and there, but that's about it. You think that would be the thing that would happen? You think that would be the thing that they would do? Because again, if you're doing all this good, then no real wrong would be enough to have the entire community go against you, right? You think this. But but oddly enough, that isn't the case. And again, this is the same group of people that will convince you that the reason why something like a Star Rail or something like Wuthering Way is doing so much better than Genshin is because they do all this and then some, where Genshin do everything wrong. But in the case of Star Rail, if they give you a character that have a global passive, the passive being that character can revive one or two of your party members, even if that said character is not in your party, then that's when the whole entire Star Rail community want to turn against Star Rail. That's when they want to start blaming Hoyoverse. That's when they want to start blaming a producer that's not even involved in the fucking game. And that's when they start review bombing the game, where it was at 4 something stars at some point, down to 3 point something stars in Google Play Store. Now, I want you to bear in mind, just because it's a certain, rating in one country, doesn't mean it's the same in other countries. So, while in the western part where I live in is at 3 point something, that doesn't mean everywhere else is the same. So to kind of give you a clarification of it. So, when I see this and I'm thinking about the drama and I'm thinking about their so-called, reasoning for this, I can't help but think to myself, wow, it goes to show you that the community is some two-faced fucking assholes, don't it? It goes to show you that the community is really two-faced in the end of the day, don't it? Because don't you find it funny that these same people that was praising and kissing the ass of Honkai Star Rail, talking about how they gave us all this free stuff, And in the moment they decide to pull a character in a game that you don't have any obligation to pull or get in the first place, we're going to hate on you. We're going to treat you like you're the scummiest person on earth. We're going to and say that you have bad business practice. You're the worst game ever. We're just going to review bomb you, probably boycott you. You know, the same song and dance they done with Genshin Impact. It's just funny to me that when people compare Genshin's Impact first anniversary to Star Real's second anniversary in terms of the backlash, supposedly the backlash, and they coming from there, it's like night and day to me because I look at both, and I look at both of these anniversaries. You look at Genshin's first anniversary, they didn't really give you much. We can acknowledge this. They didn't really give you shit. No free character, a bunch of fucking pulls. At most, it was probably like 13 pulls and nothing else. Some meaningless rewards like Mora, experience book, etc. And the backlash got so bad that they even had to address it and then adjust the rewards a bit so it wouldn't be as shitty. Okay, like that's how bad the first anniversary Genshin was. But then you look at the second anniversary of Star Rail. What are they giving away? Well, they probably giving away 20 pulls. Okay, they're supposed to be some sort of something similar to last year's, like kind of like a Monopoly event of sorts. They give you a free 5-star. They are putting 3 limited 5-stars in the standard banner. One of them being Blade, the other one being Silly, the other one being some character I do not know. They also giving you the option that for the limited banners, you can choose 7 characters from the standard banner to lose your 50-50 onto. So, say if you lost 50-50 trying to pull for the new character, you might end up with a Blade if you set them for that, right? So, you have that. You're getting pretty much all the free goodies and all the nice rewards. And the thing that is causing all this drama is a character that players assume they need for their account, and they assume that it's going to be something that not just Star Rail but whole universe would do going down the line. And again, this is just a case of the community making themselves look like fucking idiots, if anything else. And again, they're the same group of people that will sit and convince you that the fact that Genshin don't do what Star Rail do is why people don't like Genshin. But you tell me, explain to me this. If you were Genshin, the developers, and you saw what Star Rail developer is getting the slack from because of a character, despite all the good they was apparently doing much more than Genshin, would you want to listen to your community? Would you want to listen to them at all? Because all this tells me is that no matter what Genshin do from this point forward, if they make one mistake, if they make one fuck up, whether they give you a off-at loadout, a skip button, fix the resin system, or any of that, they will hate on you regardless. And the fact that they decide to hate on Star Rail for this particular thing just validates that point even further. It makes no sense. And the fact that you have some people trying to defend this and trying to rationalize this, they are fucking morons for doing so. Because what the fuck does this say about the community being grateful to the fucking developers for pretty much bending over backwards for their asses out there all this time? For a community that had went out of their way to always complain everything that Genshin do and have praised everything that Star Rail do. And let's be real, there have been cases where Star Rail might do a fuck up or do something wrong. I mean, the one thing you often hear about Star Rail is the power creep from fiasco that you mostly will hear every now and again about how power creeping the game is and how you seem like you need to pull for the new 5 stuff, you need to do some in-game content. But again, you can look at that like the same way you can look at Genshin. It's either the fact that players just generally do not know how to play the damn game, or just the case that, and I really hate to use this term, having skill issues. And the fact that my brother, who plays the game, more or less can attest to this more so than I can, because I don't play Star Rail, I think that gives you a good idea that yes, not everyone has that same mindset when it comes to the power with creep thing. You hear it in Genshin too, and really in the end of the day, it's just people just complaining because they can't get all 6 stars in the damn abyss. Let's just be real about it, okay? That's all it really boils down to. But then I see this, and it genuinely makes me upset. It really do, and I shouldn't really be upset because, as I said, it doesn't involve me because I don't really play the game. I have no real attachment to the community or the fan base, for that matter. I don't have no attachment to it. It'd be one thing if it was another issue with Genshin, like like here we go, another bullshit fucking drama with Genshin. But this is going to Star Rail for a game that hardly ever really get any real drama, and this is apparently going to be the thing that the community is going to now say, oh, this character here is the thing that ultimately going to kill Star Rail. This character here is ultimately going to be Star Rail's downfall, and people should boycott this because they should change the character, and we shouldn't get global passive characters, and they should be listening to us. And I guess they now see that getting free rewards and the devs bending over backwards for you doesn't make it that the game is going to always be fucking perfect and not make some kind of mistake that they don't approve of. And then all of a sudden, when they don't approve of it, then all of a sudden they're going to start hating on it. And again, I have to ask, as the Genshin developers, if you saw this kind of response for another game that apparently could do no wrong at some point in time, and this is the response they get because of one character, would you want to fucking listen to your fan base at that point? Let me correct myself. Would you want to listen to to the community at that point? Because I'll say again, the difference between the players and the fans of the game and the community, because the community is the fucking toxic cesspool that is Twitter, or the people that is in Hoyo Lab that pretty much act like it's fucking Twitter them damn selves. Where the fans and the players are the ones that they might have some criticism for the game, but it's not enough to go out their way to complain, to bash other people, to bitch at other people for enjoying the game, or to try to give you the doom and gloom bullshit that, the Withering Way players, the Genshin community, as well as the Honkai Star Rail community would do. And when I see this, it just fucking baffles me that you have some people, whether that will be YouTube content creators or even the community themselves, will sit there and try to rationalize that the reason why this complaint is valid is because of an assumption that this is going to happen in other games. We don't even know this is even the case. We don't even know that this is even true. And even if by some chance, even if this is true, even if it is, right? Much like the thing with Marika and Silali, or even the Netlink characters, You don't have an obligation to pull for them. Pulling for them doesn't ultimately make your account that much better or that much worse. They don't. And for some reason, people are still having this mindset that, oh man, if I don't get this cab, then that means my account is just gonna be bad and gonna be trash and whatnot. It's like if you have someone sitting and convincing themselves they need Farina for their account, otherwise their account isn't gonna be good or broken or something like that. You get Farina, but then what is the main problem with having Farina in general? You need a decent enough good healer, or you need a party healer. Now, if you don't have neither, then why the fuck do you get Farina for? Do you see the problem? Say the same case with Nailu. Nailu is probably the best for Dendro blooms. But if you don't have a fucking Dendro character, at least a good one, then what the fuck is the point of having Nailu? It just tell you just how out of touch some of these fucking players are sometimes. And it's just baffling to me that this is the same group of people that will try to sit and convince you that, oh, well, the game is all about meta, even though in reality it really fucking isn't. And then you look at a character that, like, who we gonna get in Star Rail, and then think to yourself, is she going to break the game in any way? No. Is she gonna redefine the game in any way? Hell no. So what is she really bringing to the table, honestly? Besides a passive that you could say is good or decent, but then you think to yourself, what the fuck difference does it make, especially in a situation where, like, if you're getting one-shot by enemies and she res you, what difference does that make? That doesn't give your character a buff. That doesn't make your character any better. It just means that, oh, you got 2 more free tries, to try to be a fucking boss and possibly kicking your damn ass. So what difference does that make exactly? Like, I mean, that's the equivalent of Barbara making it that she can res my characters twice whenever they die. Yeah, that's cool and all, but then if the fucking enemy still kill my ass, even if I got a second chance, what the fuck difference does that make? Like, yeah, it's a decent passive, but it's not a fucking passive that's gonna ultimately make the game it's gonna make the fucking boss or enemies any much fucking harder or less tougher than they were when they fucking knock your ass out initially. But I can go on and on and on and on and on about this. I really could. And again, it just infuriates me when I see things like this, because it proved a valid point I always said after all these fucking years, that no matter what Hoyoverse do, no matter what they do, the community would never be satisfied. The community would never truly be happy. It doesn't matter if Genshin made it that you can emote on that fucking game. It doesn't matter they gave you a free skin. It doesn't matter they gave you a free 5-star skin. It doesn't matter. Because the moment they make a mistake, the moment they do something that doesn't resonate with the rest of the community, then you're gonna get some bullshit like what Star Rail going through. It doesn't matter they give you all the free shit in the world. It doesn't matter if they bend over backwards to appeal to the fucking community. It doesn't matter a fucking damn. They will still hate on you regardless. And then they will try to sit there and convince you that they are the ones in the right and Hoyoverse is the ones in the wrong. And that it's them that being the scummy company for, bringing out a character that they still assume that they need a pull. And then assume that if they boycott it or review bomb it, that is going to make them listen. And you know what's going to happen from this? This is exactly what's going to happen from this. The anniversary is going to come up. you're gonna have a bunch of people pulling for this character. And when they do inevitably pull for this character, and I am believing this is gonna be the case, when they inevitably do pull for the character, then the community will blame the rest of the Starville player base because they decided to be sheeps. They decided to pull for a character when they should have been sticking to their guns and listen to the community and not pull for a damn character or anything, whether that because they don't give a damn or not. They're going to blame everybody else because people choose not to give a fuck. And when we're talking about games like Genshin, games like, Withering Wave, games like Star Rail, any of these games out there, if you do not care and you do not give a damn, then that means you're not part of their ideals. That means you're not fighting alongside their viewpoints of things. And if you're not doing that, then you're part of the problem, apparently. You're part of the whole issue in the grand scheme of things because you should be voicing out your concerns. You should be crying and bitching over the end like everybody else is doing. And if you're not doing that, then you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. This is not that much different than what we get from Genshin half the time. I can say this wholeheartedly. It's not that much different. So the only thing I can really say is to the Star Rail players slash fans, hey, I hope you enjoy your anniversary this next week. I hope you get whatever character you want to get. I hope you use your pulls wisely. If you is pulling for the new character, good for you. Hopefully you don't lose your 50-50 on something. And if you do lose your 50-50, hopefully it'll be of a decent character of your choice, that you picked out, that you can pick out for yourself. I hope genuinely that you have a good anniversary. As far as the community part of it, the Genshin community did the same thing, The Genshin community did the same thing, and surprisingly enough, they failed. So I don't know what do you assume you're gonna come from this because again, the western part of the world is not the majority of the fan base or the community. I know y'all think that it is, but it's not. And regardless of how loud you yell about it, you're not going to change everybody else's view on the game. If people from Japan or China or wherever is going to pull for the character, Hollywood is going to pay more attention to them than you. So whether you think you crying and bitching on Twitter is going and review bombing it is going to somehow make Hollywood just tremble in their fucking boots and just say, okay, we're going to change the character. If you really think that's going to be the case, then hey, by all means, you can try. You can go for it. All I'm saying is that you like to think that when they did this with Genshin and it didn't fucking work, that do you really think it's going to happen with Star Rail? Do you really think in your heart it's gonna happen with Star Rail? I don't know to tell you. I mean, all I can say is that it is foolish. It's stupid. It just make the community look bad than anything. Because again, it do make the community look fucking bad in the end of the day. I know they will think that no, that would make Holyverse look bad. No, because as I said, if the company or rather the game had bent over backwards for you after all this time and then some, and you've been praising it, been on your hands and knees, hair tied up and ponytail, and always been wiping your lips after the fact. If you've been doing that after all these years, and then you just so quick into turning your back on them because of one character, then that says a lot about the community than it says about the game. That's the reality. And I'm sure that when Withering Wave do something wrong, the moment with when they do something that doesn't resonate with the rest of the community, they probably gonna get the exact same kind of treatment. I'm sure that the community of Withering Waves are going to think differently on this, but let's not fool ourselves. We've seen this in everyday life. The moment someone who's famous, who is big, who is lovable, who is good, who can you in your eye can do no wrong. The moment they do something wrong, as long as not nothing criminal or something, where you're getting like absolute big trouble for, but the moment they do something wrong in the eyes of the community, in the eyes of the people, then just as quickly they will turn their back on you in a heartbeat. Do you really think Withering Waves is safe from that kind of thing? I don't think so. But hey, we just have to wait and see. But all I can say is that the community of Star Rail, hell, the community in the Holyverse in general, you're not making yourself look good. You really isn't. And again, it's saddening that this is probably mostly from the Western audience. I'm sure some of them will say, "Oh, not just the Western." No, I think it is because it's always us Westerners that are often the ones bitching, crying about something. And if that is indeed the case, it just once again just show how ungrateful we truly really is, and how ungrateful we really truly are, and that we don't give a fuck about anything but give me. And if you don't listen, then you're the problem. We're gonna hate on you. But that's all I wanted to say. Just It's just stupid. It really is. And when this backfires, when it blow up in the Star Rail community phase, it won't be of their stupidity. It would be the players' fault. It would be the people that decide they're going to pull for said that they enjoy. It's gonna be their fault. It's gonna be their fault because they're not with the rest of the community typing away and crying and bitching about a character that they don't genuinely need for their damn account. But hey, that's how the community is. If you're not with them, you're against them. And if you're not, for the cause, then you're part of the problem. And if you're not bitching and crying and being keyboard warriors like them, then, why the fuck are you playing the game, apparently, right? Fucking ridiculous.